It's 3 p.m. now, Cairo local time. It's a very good afternoon to our viewers and welcome to our afternoon English news bulletin. My name is Angie Meher, delighted to be in the company of my dear colleague, Reem Tamer. Good afternoon to you, Reem.
Good afternoon, Angie. Good afternoon to you, dear viewers. And we start right away with the headlines.
President Abdel Sisi holds talks with the Danish Prime Minister. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli meets with the Qatari Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad الثاني. Syrian opposition quicken momentum as Assad tries to shore up defense.
Welcome back. The news in full. President Abdel Sisi held talks with Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen at the Danish Cabinet's headquarters in Copenhagen. The meeting tackled means of boosting bilateral relations in different fields.
Earlier, President Abdel Sisi met with the Speaker of the Danish Parliament, Sarangat, and a number of Danish parliamentarian figures during his visit to the headquarters of Parliament in Copenhagen in the framework of his current visit to the Kingdom of Denmark. President Sisi held talks with the Parliament Speaker and parliamentarian members tackling Egyptian-Danish relations in all fields. For his part, the Parliament Speaker welcomed President Sisi's visit to his country, which is the first Egyptian president visiting Denmark.
At the Parliament's headquarters, President Abdel Sisi signed a word in the registry of top visitors to the Danish Parliament. This came in the framework of President Abdel Sisi's current visit to the Danish capital, Copenhagen, which is the first visit by an Egyptian president to Denmark. During his visit, Egypt is due to sign with Denmark a declaration to elevate the strategic relations between the two countries on Saturday.
Earlier, President Abdel Sisi received a red carpet reception by Denmark's King Frederick X. King Frederick confirmed the launch of the Egyptian-Danish Business Council, which will greatly push bilateral trade relations. The King also stressed that the Egyptian market is attractive to Danish investments. President Sisi also met with Robert Maersk Ogler, the head of AP Moller Maersk Company. President hailed the Danish company's activities to develop a number of container hubs in Egypt to turn them into global ones.
Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli conveyed President Abdel Sisi's greetings to Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani, adding that Egypt is interested to boost joint cooperation with Qatar in all fields. This came during the Qatari Emir meeting with Prime Minister Madbouli on the sideline of his participation on behalf of President Abdel Sisi in the opening session of the 22nd edition of Doha Forum 2024, hosted by the Qatari capital. During the meeting, the Prime Minister said that consultation continues with Qatar to carry out what agreed on during the visit of Emir of Qatar to Egypt last November. For his part, Emir of Qatar Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani highlighted Egypt's pivotal role in the region and worldwide. The meeting also touched on key topics on the forum's agenda.
The Prime Minister, Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, affirmed Egypt's strong relations with Qatar and its keenness to push joint relations towards greater horizons during the upcoming period. Prime Minister's remarks came during his meeting on behalf of President Abdel Sisi with members of the Qatari Chamber of Commerce, with the attendance of the Qatar Chamber Chairman Sheikh Khalifa bin Jassim al-Thani on the sidelines of the opening session of the 22nd edition of the Doha Forum 2024. Addressing the gathering, Madbouli said Egypt has exerted the utmost effort to open more aspects in a bid to attract new investment projects, especially with Arab countries, through the easing of procedures and removing of obstacles.
The 31st edition of the International Holy Quran competition kicked off on Saturday in Cairo, which runs from 7th to the 10th of December. Held under the auspices of President Fattah al-Sisi, the competition brings together Quran memorizers from 60 countries with a total prize money of 11 million Egyptian pounds to be awarded to the winners. A new category, namely Quran translation, has been added to the international event of this edition. During the inaugural session, Minister of Endowments Osama Al-Azhari delivered a speech on behalf of Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli, stating that Egypt was linked to the Holy Quran before the creation of mankind, as God Almighty mentioned Egypt in the Holy Quran 5 times explicitly and more than 40 times implicitly.
Moving to regional news, Syrian opposition were poised to press their advance on Saturday after reaching the edge of the central city of Homs, with government forces attempting to buttress collapsing front lines. Since the opponent's sweep into Aleppo a week ago, government defenses have crumbled across the country at dizzying speed as insurgents seized a string of major cities and rose up in places where the rebellion had long seemed over. Besides capturing Aleppo in the north and Hama in the center and Deir ez-Zor in the east, opponents have risen up in southern areas, saying on Friday they'd taken control of 2 cities and posting videos showing insurgent celebrations there. Meanwhile, Syria's military said it was carrying out airstrikes around Hama and Homs and reinforcing the front. It also said it was repositioning around the other cities without acknowledging their capture by the opposition.
The U.S. State Department said that U.S. citizens in Syria should immediately leave the country while commercial options remain available. The State Department said on Friday as opposition forces continue their offensive against President Bashar al-Assad's troops. The department said the security situation continues to be volatile and unpredictable, with active clashes between armed groups throughout the country.
And the Syrian opposition forces said Saturday was deploying additional forces to the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights near the Syrian border to strengthen the defense in the area. The occupied forces' preparedness for different scenarios. Israeli occupation said it was monitoring developments and is prepared for all scenarios, offensive and defensive alike.
Turkey's foreign minister will meet with his Russian and Iranian counterparts in Doha on Saturday to try to find a solution to the renewed fighting in Syria and avoid chaos on its doorstep. The 3 countries have been partners since 2017 in the Astana process, seeking to end the civil war in Syria, even if they have supported opposite sides on the battlefield. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan hoped the advance of the rebels would continue without incident, openly identifying their objective as Damascus.
Palestinian officials say at least 29 people were killed, including 4 medical staff, when Israeli strikes pummeled the area around one of the last remaining hospitals in northern Gaza. Israel's war against Hamas has destroyed vast areas of Gaza and displaced 90% of the population of 2.3 million people, often multiple times. According to Gaza's health ministry, Israeli occupation forces offensives have now killed over 44,600 Palestinians, more than half of them being women.
World Food Organization have warned of famine in northern Gaza, which Israeli occupation has almost completely sealed off since launching a major military operation there in early October. Earlier, Amnesty International said it found that Israel deliberately inflicted conditions of life on Palestinians in Gaza intended to lead over time to their destruction. Those actions included the destruction of homes, farms, hospitals and water facilities, mass evacuation orders and the restriction of humanitarian aid and other essential services. Aid groups say the population is at risk of disease and malnutrition, especially as winter sets in.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Saturday said a second batch of F-16 fighter jets had arrived in Ukraine from Denmark. Zelensky said this step is an example of leadership in defending lives that sets Denmark apart from other countries.
Russian President Vladimir Putin said that Russia could deploy its new Oreshnik intermediate-range hypersonic missile on the territory of its ally Belarus in the second half of next year. Details follow.
President Vladimir Putin said that Russia could deploy its new Oreshnik intermediate-range hypersonic missile on the territory of its ally Belarus in the second half of next year. Putin was responding to a request from the Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko at a summit in Minsk where the two leaders signed a mutual defense pact. Russia first fired the missile at the Ukrainian city of Dnipro on November 21st in what Putin cast as a response to Ukraine's first use of American ATACMS ballistic missiles and the British Storm Shadows to strike Russian territory with Western permission. Putin has said Russia may use the missile again, including to hit decision-making centers in Kiev if Ukraine keeps attacking Russia with long-range Western weapons. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov told U.S. journalist Tucker Carlson in an interview released late Thursday that Moscow's firing of the missile was a signal that the West must take seriously. Putin has boasted that the missile is impossible to intercept and has destructive power comparable to that of a nuclear weapon, even when fitted with a conventional warhead. Some Western experts have cast doubt on Putin's claims about the missile, which they say is based on a system that Russia had at one point tested as an intercontinental weapon before putting its development on ice. And now to our economic news. The Minister of Communication and Information Technology, Amr Talat, attended the signing ceremony of a memorandum of understanding with Found Ever, a leading global provider of customer service solutions, which has announced an ambitious expansion in Egypt with plans to create 5,000 new jobs over the next 4 years. Found Ever's total investment in Egypt is projected to reach $65 million, underscoring the company's confidence in Egypt's capabilities and its strategic importance in the global CX landscape. For his part, Talat asserted the decision by Found Ever to grow its operation in Egypt underscores the trust that the global CX and offshoring players place in Egypt's unparalleled value proposition as a hub for IT and business process outsourcing services.
The European Union reached a blockbuster free trade agreement with Brazil, Argentina, and the 3 other South American nations in the Mercosur Trade Alliance, capping a quarter-century of on-off negotiations even as France vowed to derail the contentious accord. Provided it is ratified, the accord would create one of the world's largest free trade zones, covering a market of 780 million people that represents nearly a quarter of global gross domestic product. The accord's proponents in Brussels say it would save businesses some $4.26 billion in duties each year, slashing red tape and removing tariffs on some products.
And moving to the exciting world of sports, in a highly awaited clash, Egypt's Al-Ahli play as we speak with the Orlando Pirates of South Africa in the CAF Champions League match. Both sides have successfully commenced the tournament's phase, each claiming victory in their opening matches. They're at the top of Group C with 3 points apiece, with Al-Ahli holding the advantage on goal difference so far. Al-Ahli, who are Africa's most decorated club with 12 CAF Champions League championships, kicked off their campaign with a 4-2 victory against the Ivory Coast at Abidjan. For the Red Devils, all the attention will be on Bafana vice-captain Percy Tau, who is posed to challenge his home team and secure victory for Marcel Coller's side. As for the Orlando Pirates, they aim to optimize points at home as they hope top advantage from the group stage. Pirates coming off a significant 2-1 win over Algeria's CR Belouizdad will look to maintain their momentum. The two teams have faced each other a total of 6 times, with the Pirates claiming 3 victories, Al-Ahli winning once and the remaining 2 matches ending in a draw.
Dear viewers, this brings us to the end of this news bulletin. This was Reem Tamer along with my very dear colleague Angie Meher. Thank you, Angie.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much, Reem, and thank you to our viewers for joining us. Good afternoon.